Imagine getting paid just for sharing your thoughts on products and services you use every day. With Survey Junkie, it's that simple. Click on the link in the video description to discover how you can start earning today by taking surveys.
A desperate Putin is now testing remote-controlled drone Z-tanks after running out of crews to operate Russian armored vehicles. Dramatic footage shows a Russian soldier controlling a war tank fitted with a first-person view, FPV, drone using remote controls. Coupled with the latest drone technology, these tanks can operate without a crew and blast enemies just by the touch of a few buttons. The Russian army is increasingly testing these tanks and can start deploying them to the front lines any minute. This, however, shows how Putin is increasingly losing men in his meat grinder war against Ukraine, so much so that he is running out of human crew to operate such heavy-duty armored vehicles. Russia has lost thousands of tanks since the start of the bloody invasion and has been increasingly relying on outdated Soviet tanks that were made obsolete decades ago, Forbes reports. Ukraine expert Alexander Kovalenko told a Ukrainian media outlet, "The most interesting thing is that there are no crews in the unit who can operate these tanks." The expert added that a lack of professional soldiers trained to operate such tanks is increasingly becoming an acute problem for Putin. Another reason behind Putin's bid to switch to such humanless warfare is because of the intense strikes by Ukrainian FPV drones. A video posted on the Ukrainian Telegram channel NMFT showed one such drone accurately blitzing a Russian T-90M tank, one of the most modern tanks in Putin's war chest. Just a few seconds after the attack, paranoid Russian troops operating the air tank were seen abandoning the vehicle to save their lives. War tanks tend to blow up quickly as they carry because of their ammunition storage arrangement. Dramatic footage captured today showed Ukraine's potent kamikaze drones blowing up Russian tanks in the latest blow to Putin's failing forces. Kiev's fierce determination was unwavering as the drones reduced them to fiery wreckage. And 2 days ago, another Ukrainian drone obliterated Russia's indestructible turtle tank in the latest blow to Putin's failing forces. Footage showed the sturdy military vehicle suddenly blowing up in flames after its crew left the hatch wide open in a fatal mistake. Such fears have now forced Putin to test drone-fitted tanks just so he can try to avoid the loss of more men in the bloody war. With 1,270 soldiers lost on Sunday and 1,290 on Monday last week, Russia has seen its two bloodiest days of the meat grinder war back-to-back. The rampant rise in fatalities comes after the approval by Western countries for Ukraine to launch an armed attack within Russia. Kiev says Russian casualty figures have been above 1,000 per day since Moscow launched a new offensive in Kharkiv on May 10. Ukrainian forces are now said to have killed 512,420 Russian troops and destroyed 7,794 tanks, 15,020 armored combat vehicles, and 13,345 artillery pieces since the start of the war. A humiliated Putin has now acknowledged that thousands of Russian soldiers are dying in Ukraine each month in a shamefaced admission. Kiev has been rampantly using US-made ATACMS rockets to blitz targets inside Russia. A series of deadly missiles were launched at Putin-occupied Luhansk as loud explosions rang out in the city, causing panic. ATACMS rockets are fitted with a 500-pound warhead and can reach targets 300 kilometers away in just 5 minutes. The killer 2,300 miles-per-hour missiles give Ukraine nearly double the striking distance it had with the mid-range version of the weapon it received from the U.S. last October. The U.S. has also been supplying HIMARS missiles to the front, which were deployed to destroy Putin's S-300 launchers. Dramatic footage showed the HIMARS blasting key military targets and reportedly obliterating up to 3 of Moscow's S-300 rockets, which the warmonger used in Kharkiv. In response, the despot threatened to send his allies long-range missiles to counter the West's decision to allow his enemies to use lethal weapons against his troops on the front lines. Meanwhile, Putin's new despicable pal, bizarrely dubbed the despot God's child who was sent to Earth to save humanity from World War III. Professor Sergei Karaganov, Putin's new right hand, claimed the tyrant is the savior of the world who will not only win against Ukraine but will also thwart a global war. Putin, who has killed and maimed hundreds of thousands,